Hey everyone, Devin here with Backcountry Exposure. So excited to share with you my first impressions of this brand new camp stove from GSI Outdoors. This is the Pinnacle Pro 2-burner stove. This thing is fantastic, and I have waited over a year to get this in my hands. I backed this on Kickstarter. I gotta tell you, this thing has been impressive for the short amount of time that I've had it so far. Now, something about 2-burner stoves when it comes to camp stoves for like car camping and stuff is, why are 2-burner stoves so bulky and clunky, and they're not awesome stoves? And this replaced the Eureka Ignite stove that I had that unfortunately took a tumble into the ground during a pretty gnarly windstorm, busted it up, and it wasn't usable anymore. So the timing of this stove was fantastic for that. Look at this thing. It's tiny in its profile. It's 1.5 inches thick at the most. It's 20 inches long and about 12.5 inches wide. So you've got something very compact, but it's a full-size 2-burner stove that has these nice windscreen sides on that really just keep everything nice and tight, and so that the lid here doesn't go blowing away. So let's break it down a little bit. You have a full-size 2-burner stove here. Low profile, you've got individual knobs for controlling your heat output from the 11,000 BTU burners. So 22,000 total with the burners combined, but each one has its own ignition, which is really nice. And in the couple weeks of me having this so far, no, the burners do not ignite from the piezo igniter from the first click every time. That's not a huge deal for me as long as they continue to actually ignite the burner when I need it to. So the Pinnacle Pro does run off of your 1-pound style propane tanks. What is it ideal for? Well, I feel like camping. Obviously, I mean, you're not going to backpack with this stove necessarily because it's huge. It's 9 pounds in weight. But from a car camping and overlanding standpoint, a stove that doesn't take up a ton of space in your car is really important. That's one of the things that I disliked the most about my Eureka stove and even the Coleman 2-burner stove that I had before that. This really just compacts down into a tiny size. These legs here on the bottom, they fold underneath and they lock into place. And with the Kickstarter, I imagine that GSI will have this available as well on retail. But this bag that the stove is able to slide into, and you've got a little cradle in here on the side for your braided line, which I want to mention that as well. Your propane line is a braided line as opposed to one of those solid pieces that makes your tank kind of sit like this on the side of the table. So I'm not limited to having it only attached to one side. It attaches here into the back of the stove, has a nice little cover that comes up over the port to protect that from getting dirt and stuff in it when it's not in use. This thing, aside from being low profile, really focuses on functionality. And you've got a burner here. I'm actually going to crank this on. So that was 2 clicks. You've got the ability to really adjust your flame, and you can go with a really, really low simmer. And you've got just the right amount of height between the burner and the grate here that you put your pots and pans and stuff on. When you've got larger pots on here, or you want to keep your handles and stuff away, the nice thing about the way this windscreen and stuff is built is you can rotate the handles out away from the sides, so you don't have to worry about kids or anything, or walking up and knocking the handle straight down off of the front. So I like that aspect as well. And the build quality of this grate right here, super, super high quality. And it's robust. It just is the right size for putting 2 different pots on here, a fry pan and a pot, or a griddle, like a cast iron griddle from Lodge, for example, fits on here really nice as well. So you've got about 18 inches of space lengthwise and about 10 inches or so from the front to the back that allows you to put a pretty standard size griddle on here. Anything longer than 20 inches in length or 18 inches really is not going to work super well with how all of this is configured. But there's plenty of options out there of griddles and pots and pans and stuff that allow you to really cook what you would need on a camping trip on a stove like this. Other aspects of this stove is the fact that it's an all metal construction. It's nice and strong, and I can absolutely trust that this is going to last a long time. One of the things that I really love about this is the ability to take this grate, that's kind of warm, and disconnect it from the lid here, and you can flip the grate up and then wipe out the stove really, really easy. And they've even put like a non-stick coating on the base of the burners here, and you'll notice that there's not like this huge amount of like space of material underneath and everything. Like, I just never understood why certain 2-burner stoves are just so oversized and clunky and big, and they have so much wasted space. And I wonder if it has to do with the way that the burner's designed and the way that they need to like breathe or have space underneath on them. Not so with this stove. I'm just absolutely impressed with what GSI has put together here. So you might be curious what the price point is on this. I paid roughly $200 for this stove in a Kickstarter campaign. What that price is going to be moving forward, I imagine you're going to be between $200 and $250 for this, just based off of how things are right now and the ability for them to get this manufactured and such. But fantastic, fantastic product, GSI. Thank you so much for designing this, putting it together, and finally getting it out to us Kickstarter backers. I love it. It's fantastic. So curious your thoughts on the GSI Pinnacle Pro 2-burner stove. If you think it's a bit over the top, or if you think it's a fantastic product and want to get one for yourself. Either way, appreciate you guys watching today. If you're not subscribed, you know what to do. Have a good one. We'll catch you on the next video. See you later.